Hi again, this is Chef Paul from Gulf Coast State College and the Culinary Management Program, welcoming you to the Chef's Corner. And today, it's time for dessert. We're going to be making really my favorite dessert and many of y'all's favorite. Also, it's going to be creme brulee, all right? So here we go. Basically, creme brulee is a custard. It's a combination of dairy and eggs, and it really is a lot easier than you might think. So let's talk about what we need. We're going to be using heavy cream, egg yolks, sugar, and a vanilla bean, all right? So the procedure is really simple, but I want to talk about this guy first. In the grocery store, they're very expensive, and we use a lot of them here at the school. What we do is we buy them off of Amazon, or you can even buy them off of eBay. Literally pennies a piece. So if you need vanilla beans, make sure to do that. And after we get done with the vanilla bean today, we're not going to throw it away. We're going to put it in a little bin of sugar so that we can have some nice vanilla scented sugar for our coffee in the morning. You guys can too. So if you're ready, let's get started. We've got our induction unit again. I'm going to turn it on and add our 2 cups of a nice cold heavy cream. There is no substitution for this. Heavy cream, or in the grocery store it might say heavy whipping cream. The recipe is pretty simple. 2 cups of that to a half a cup of sugar. We're only going to put in our heavy cream half of this. And we're going to stir this together and go ahead and add our vanilla bean. But we got to do something to the vanilla bean, and we're going to take a knife and slit it down the middle. And what's going to happen is it's going to basically allow all those wonderful little beans to come out in our cream. Now, while that is coming up to a simmer, we turn to our eggs. I've got egg yolks, grade A large egg yolks, and we're going to put them into our bowl. Now, also in here, we're going to take the other part of our sugar and mix it in. With these two, we're going to take a whisk and whisk them together until it forms a nice homogeneous blend. That's it. Now we're going to get this cream heated up to temperature. Basically what we're trying to do is heat this up enough so that the cream will infuse with the taste of those wonderful sugar beans. And we're going to actually scrape that sugar bean so that we get some of these wonderful beans into our product. While we're doing that, we need to talk about our ramekins. We're going to be using small fluted ramekins, just like you see in the restaurant. You can buy these at a cooking supply store or almost anywhere, probably even a department store would have them. And we're going to be using a sheet pan. This recipe is going to make 6 beautiful creme brulees. Now, as this is heating up, you'll notice that the beans are starting to come and start floating around in there. We're going to let that heat up all the way. And you can see we got a little wisp of steam coming up off of that. This induction unit is really neat. What's nice about it is because it cooks with magnets, I can put my hands right on it, and it's not even warm. It's a pretty neat technology, and it's available for your home now also. As you can see, it's starting to steam. And what we're going to do in a minute is we're going to have to combine our heated cream with our egg yolks. And we've got a possibility of some things going wrong there, so you want to pay close attention. As this heats up, I want you to let it sit and simmer, and then let it sit for about 10 minutes after you've turned it off. And what that's going to do, like making a cup of tea, it's going to allow those flavors to infuse. And we're stirring, and now you'll be able to, if you were here, you could smell that wonderful vanilla coming up into the cream. As it comes up to a gentle simmer, we're then going to take and get ready for our tempering. And what we're going to be doing is called tempering. Tempering is by adding a small amount of this hot cream to our eggs so that we slowly raise the temperature of the eggs. If we added all this cream at one time to the eggs, we would basically instantly cook and scramble our eggs, and that would end up with sweetened scrambled egg yolks. And I've worked in restaurants a long time, but I've never seen it on a menu. So you want to make sure that you do it nice and slow. Ours came up to a nice little simmer. I've turned it off, and now I'm going to take a ladle and I'm going to add just a little bit at a time to slowly warm up those egg yolks. What's happening is I'm in a safe manner able to heat up these egg yolks to the point where I'm not going to cook them and have them scramble on us. And once you've got that done, then once they've warmed up, then you can pour the rest of yours in there. Wonderful. Now, guess what? Your creme brulee custard is completely done at this point. Now, I've got a handy tool that we use for pouring. It's a funnel with a bit of a spigot on the bottom of it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my creme brulee mixture and add it. And now I'm going to deposit it into the cups. You don't need to have a fancy tool like this. You can simply use a ladle at home and it'll work just fine. This will make 6, and there will be a tiny bit left over. Pour those in. Now, of course, this is dependent on the size of ramekins that you're using. And look at that. Just right. All right, time to put them in the oven. All right, we're ready to put our creme brulees in the oven. Now, it's really important that you follow these steps pretty closely, and you're going to end up with really great creme brulees. I'm going to be using our Rationale Self-Cooking Center. It's a great oven. It offers steam injection and convection. You don't need any of that. Your home oven will work fine. I want you to set your oven to 300 degrees. All right, and make sure it's fully preheated. What we're going to do is we're going to open this up, and we're going to take our creme brulees and be really careful as we're picking them up. We're going to put them right in the oven. Now, I'm not going to push them in all the way because what I've got to do now is the important part. We're going to add some water to make our water bath. And I'm going to go ahead and use hot water if possible because that way it takes a little bit less time for them to heat up. The water bath is critical because what it's doing is it is keeping our eggs from cooking too quickly. All right? So I'm going to gently add the water because I don't want the water to go into my creme brulees. We don't want watery creme brulees. And we really want the water to come up a third to a halfway up, and that's fine. Once we get that in, gently push those in. Close your oven. I'm going to set this for 15 minutes. And it can take as long as 20 to 25 minutes depending on your oven. We're going to set this to 15 minutes because I want to show you something really important when we get back. All right? See you then. All right, our creme brulee is almost done. We're going to check it right here in just a few more seconds and make sure that they're done. All right? So that, for my oven, was 18 minutes. Your oven at home, because it's probably not convection, might take as much as 25. Here's what to look for. If you can notice, the creme brulees are set all the way across. We know that they're perfectly done. Don't cook them any more than this. It's really critical because at this point, all we're doing is overheating the eggs. Now comes a little bit of a difficult part. You can do this a couple of ways. It's really important to get the creme brulees out of the oven, but our water is hot and the pan is hot. So what you want to do is you can either use a pair of tongs or a spatula to lift each one out. I'm going to do it a little differently. I'm going to lift these out gently and without burning myself. Tip the pan. It's not my first rodeo. And try not to get any water into my creme brulees. So there we go. 6 beautiful creme brulees. Now what's really critical at this point is that you take and you put these in the refrigerator and let them sit for at least an hour. They need to chill so that they'll fully set, all right? So we're going to go ahead and put these in the fridge and come back and show you how to burn your creme brulees. All right, welcome back. So our creme brulees have sat in the refrigerator for about an hour. They're nice and chilled and set, and now it's time to make our creme brulees. We're going to need a few things for this. First, we're going to need some regular granulated sugar. It's really important, I feel, to use granulated sugar. I know some recipes call for turbinado sugar, but I feel that the granulated sugar makes for a lighter crust. The turbinado sugar really gets very dark and I think can have a bit of an acrid taste to it. The second piece of equipment is pretty important, and that's a good torch. I know you can find the little small butane burner torches made just for creme brulees, but this is a much more useful thing to have around the house to start maybe your fireplace fire, or to light a bonfire outside, or to make creme brulees with. So you ready? Let's go. All right, so what we're going to do, we're going to take our sugar and sprinkle some sugar on top of the creme brulee. Now, then I just simply pick up that creme brulee afterwards and shake it, and it allows our sugar to move around nicely. When you're doing these, only do one at a time. If you put sugar on the rest of them, by the time you get to the last ones, the sugar will have melted. So it's really important to just do one of these at a time. Now, when I come in with the torch, I'm going to come straight over top, and I'm going to move the torch around slowly so that it melts the sugar. I want to see the sugar melt clear first before it turns dark. That's pretty important. So you ready? Here we go. And if you'll notice, you'll see that the sugar is actually starting to melt. I've got this up pretty high. You can come down a little bit as it melts, and there we go. We're starting to get some browning. You can move a little slower, getting a nice little coating. And that's it. Creme brulee, just that simple. A few seconds under a torch. Now the important thing is to let this sit for a few moments. There is no burn in the world like a sugar burn. So we want to let this sit until it hardens up. Another reason to not have the torch too close is that we could actually overcook those eggs. So we want to make sure and slow down a little bit. That's going to solidify. I'm going to take and put a few berries on top, just so that we can have a few on there. And then we'll come in with a raspberry or two. And finally, what we want to do is we want to listen for the tap. Hopefully we'll hear a nice, and that's what we're listening for, that nice solid tap, so that we know that our sugar is fully set, and then it's time to dig in and enjoy a taste of creme brulee. This is Chef Paul. Thanks a bunch. We'll see you next time.